Welcome to Veterans Archives, where we are dedicated to preserving the stories of our nation's heroes. We hope you enjoy this story. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like and share our videos. Check us out across all social media. Be sure to like and share those pages as well. And for more information, go to www.veteransarchives.org. Good morning. Today is Friday, April 18th, 2025. We're talking with Mike Sweeney, who served the United States Air Force. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, Bill. How are you?
I'm great. Great to see you this morning.
It's good to be here.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to be anywhere. That's how
I heard it's better to be seen than viewed. So
I haven't heard that one. I had a first sergeant that used to say, every day above ground's a good day.
Oh, it is too.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just start out our conversation with when and where were you born?
I was born in Lansing, Michigan, at a hospital that doesn't exist anymore. I believe it was called the McLaughlin Hospital.
Oh.
Down on the east side of downtown. Born and raised in Lansing, and spent all of my life basically in Lansing, with the exception of the military life.
Okay. And where did you live when you were a kid? Like in what part of Lansing?
I lived on Lansing Avenue in Lansing.
Oh.
That's just north of Willow Street School, the old Willow Street School, just north and west of the School for the Blind.
Okay. All right. Which is no longer there.
No.
I see.
No, it's apartments now.
Yeah. I see that the house is still there, but nothing else. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. What was it like growing up for you?
You could go anywhere without locking your doors. We spent outside most of the time. We were close, 3 or 4 blocks from the river. So as kids, we grew up along the river, fishing, hiking, doing things we shouldn't have done, like climbing on the idle boxcars and running across the top of them. Never did anything with the switches, but it was fun growing up. We played street ball. We hollered if there was cars coming so we could get out of the way. I grew up at a time when early on we actually had a milkman that would come with a horse-drawn cart. You know, you'd think I'd be older than that, but we remember those things. And they would deliver milk to the back porch.
Wow. Now, just out of curiosity, was that Quality Dairy that was delivering it at the time?
Probably. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Back then, the names of places didn't mean anything to me. I just knew the milkman delivered milk, and he had a horse-drawn cart.
Yeah. So what year were you born then?
I was born in 1944.
Okay. All right. I got you. So yeah, but that's a good time to be growing up then.
It was. It really was. You know, we had no fears of shootings or abductions or anything like that. You know, we were out until the streetlights came on or the old man whistled for us to come in.
Right. Either way, you were home, right?
Right.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
One sister older, Dorothy. She was 8 years older than I.
Okay. So you guys didn't really hang out then?
Not really, no. She left the house early on and got married young.
Oh.
To the boy down the street. And
okay. All right. Well, tell me a little bit about your parents. What do you remember most about your mother?
My mother was a worker. She worked all the time. My parents both worked. She had a variety of jobs. She grew up in a family of 13 in southern Indiana on a farm. She wasn't a stranger to work. She would take a nap for 15 minutes in the evening after supper, and then she'd wake up and get right up and say, "Did I snore?"
Did she?
Get on with business. You know, she worked for the state. That was her final job, working for the state. She died young. She was 60 when she passed.
Oh, that is young.
Yeah.
That is young. I have to ask a question though. Did she snore?
I don't really recall that she did.
Oh, okay. The reason I asked my grandparents lived on Erie Street in Lansing, right off of Cedar behind the Quality Dairy there. Anyway, when my grandfather would come home before he worked at Motor Wheel, he'd come home from work and he would take a 15-minute nap. But that guy, he would take a nap in the upper part of the house, and you could hear him in the basement
Oh,
snoring.
I can believe that. Yeah.
So
My
I had to
mother
ask.
during the Second World War worked for uh, she helped build Norden bomb sites in
Oh,
Indianapolis.
okay.
And big cities, if you haven't lived in a big city, there are dangers there, and there have been forever.
Hmm.
And she had, and I still have it. She had little. She called it a trout knife, and it was a very small knife in a sheath, leather sheath, that she carried in her purse. But when she walked to work, to apart from her apartment to work in the bomb site factory, and she said, uh, coming and going, she had that little trout knife in her hand just in case.
Made her feel better, right?
Yeah, that made her feel better.
Yeah, yeah. So what about your father? What are some of your memories of him?
My dad taught me how to hunt. He had me shooting when I was 5 years old, and we did a lot of hunting together. Uh, and uh, we played a lot of catch, a lot of ball.
Hmm.
Uh, that's pretty much what I can recall.
Okay, all right. I'm curious about something. So my father-in-law grew up on Pennsylvania Street in Lansing, and he would skip school and go hunting. And I thought he was hunting in Lansing. Did you ever do any of that?
No, the closest we came to that, not with my dad, but with the high school buddies,
Uh huh.
we would hunt pheasant along the northern uh, border of the Lansing airport, where there were no fences, state road was open, uh, and there it wasn't a international airport at the time. Um, it was just it was different. It was different back then.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Progress has hit in, and things have changed.
Right, right. Progress is what we call it,
That's right.
I guess.
Let's pave over the world.
Yeah, there you go. I think there's a song about that actually from the '60s. But how was school for you? Did what elementary did you go to, and so
School
on?
was always easy for me. Not that I'm anybody that's brilliant, but I went to Willow Street School. Um, had a good time there. Learned a lot. Went to CW Auto, um, and from there on to Sexton High School.
Okay. What year did you graduate Sexton?
I graduated from Sexton in 1962.
Oh, okay. All right. And yeah, so it sounds like school was pretty good for you.
It was, yeah. We weren't bused at the time. There were busing for the rural kids, but not for us. I did a lot of walking from Otto Junior High and it was junior high then, not middle school,
Right.
and a lot of walking from back and forth from Sexton.
Yeah, and that's the kind of the way Lansing was set up. You had your local grade schools, and then you had your junior high, which was fairly close, and then I think the high schools, of course, were a little bit further out. But it was really convenient as a kid because you just walked to whatever school you needed to go to.
Oh, it was, and there was no school of choice back then. You
Right.
went to the school where you were supposed to go.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And a lot of those schools are still there.
Oh,
Um,
that's true. They're rebuilding Willow Street Elementary School.
yeah, I've seen it's like a almost a 3-year project.
It is. It's architecturally it's odd.
It is. That's a great way to say because I've seen all the new building going on because I know Mount Hope School is being rebuilt and so on. So yeah, it's progress, I guess.
It is. Yep.
So you get to Sexton High School and you graduate. Now, did you go in the service right after graduation?
No, I was the first in our family to go to university. So I applied for and was accepted to Michigan State University. And uh, I started that the fall of '62
Hmm.
as a freshman.
What was your goal there?
Uh, my goal was to get a degree.
In Did you have an idea of what you wanted
I
to
had
do?
no clue.
Okay.
My first 2 years, it was like no preference.
Uh huh.
And I kind of wandered. Registration for classes was in a big room and with a lot of students, and you just kind of wandered. I think back then I didn't have much assistance from counseling, career counseling.
Hmm.
Um, and I finally settled down about the junior year and declared a major
Okay. And what did it end up being?
in personnel administration,
Okay.
business major.
Yeah. So did you do so this is interesting too. Like a 4-year degree takes 5 years now. Was it the same way back then?
It took 4 years and one semester,
Okay.
one summer semester.
All right.
It's amazing. Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you about MSU. It astounds me today to see what tuition is.
Hmm.
And I commuted from home, so I didn't have that typical college experience. But tuition was $125 for 12 or more credits.
And that's not per credit. That's for all
That's
your
correct.
credits.
It was not per credit.
Wow.
$125 for 12 or more credits. It just staggers me to see what tuition is today. Of course, I've got two granddaughters that are one is got her master's degree already, and what they pay for tuition is just unbelievable.
I agree. I put my daughter through Michigan State University, and wow,
Oh yeah,
it's mind bending.
and they're increasing the fees constantly.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think that's all. We could have a 2-hour discussion on what's going on with
Oh
that.
boy, yes.
I have my ideas. So you graduated though. You got your degree.
Graduated, got my degree at the time, and while I was going to school, I worked summers at the old Fisher Body plant.
Uh huh.
I was like a vacation replacement in the summer, and I worked in the human resources department, personnel office, we called it
Right.
back then. Uh, and I did a variety of jobs as replacing people when they went on vacation, and uh, and that helped. That helped pay tuition, buy books. Seems like I paid more for books than I did for tuition.
I think that's the plan.
I think so.
I think that's how that works. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. So it used to be personnel, then it was human resources, and now they're even calling it people and culture. Like we just keep changing the name of what it is.
Yeah, don't you wonder about that? You know?
Yeah. Well, again, it's that word that we keep using as progress, I think.
Right.
Yeah. So how long? So how long did you stay at Fisher then?
I worked for Fisher Body for 34 and a half years. Actually, I'll say Fisher Body went away just like Oldsmobile did, but the facilities were there.
Mm-hmm.
I got an opportunity to work at the Olds facility. Same kind of work, different people. That was probably one of the best parts of my work career is the people that I got to meet at Oldsmobile
Mm-hmm.
in different functions, forward planning, uh, maintenance and engineering. Uh, and my other staff was the human resources department or the personnel department. And it was good. That was a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Those were great jobs. My dad retired from Oldsmobile, so I get it. So, at what point did the Air Force come into the picture?
Almost, well, before I graduated from university,
Okay.
I realized that um, you were going to serve in Vietnam. That's just the way it was. And I had that student deferment.
Uh-huh.
And I realized that student deferment would come up. So now what? Do you wait for the draft? Do you do something proactive? So I went ahead and signed up. It was a delayed enlistment program, and I signed up to go into the Air Force,
Mm-hmm.
and which happened. And before I graduated, I think the draft board knew that my student deferment was going to be up, and I had a letter from the draft board that says you need to appear before the draft board uh, in preparation for being drafted. So I did, went to Fort Wayne and got the induction physical and all that, and appeared before the draft board and said, "Hey, I've already volunteered in a delayed enlistment to serve in the Air Force." And they said, okay, now when will that take place? And I said, they tell me I'm going to be inducted into the Air Force mid-March. That would have been 1967.
Okay.
And they said, okay, that's fine. But if you don't serve, you will be drafted the very next day.
We will come find you.
And so it worked out all right.
Uh-huh.
March 17th came around, and I enlisted in the Air Force.
Okay. And where did you go to basic?
Basic training was at San Antonio at Lackland Air Force Base.
Okay. So that really hasn't changed over the years. I think
I
that's still
don't think
where
it
they do
has,
it.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Tell me a little. So what was that like getting to basic training?
Hot.
Yeah.
We suffered along with everybody else. I can recall after a reveille, and before we had to gather for the morning PT, there was an Air Force band practicing, and they practiced that song, "We Got to Get Out of This Place."
I know exactly what song you're talking
Oh,
about.
yeah. And we commiserated with each other, but basic wasn't horrible.
Uh-huh.
It's not like Paris Island for the Marine Corps.
Right. Right. Air Force is a little bit different.
It is.
Yeah. And how many weeks was that? Do you remember?
I think it was 90 days.
Okay. So really quick, kind of in and out.
It was an officer candidate school program.
Okay. Oh, because you had your degree.
Right.
Right. Okay. So it was kind of the quick. Here's what the Air Force is about, and getting you ready for your service.
Right. I had no idea what we were going to do.
Yeah.
Till we got our orders.
Yeah. So where'd you go from basic?
From basic, I went to a place that I couldn't figure out what the orders meant. And I had them, and I looked at it, and it was Pickstown Air Force Station, SDAK. What is that? And then finally somebody, well, that's a short for South Dakota. And I said, where's that? So I went to a little radar station in very rural South Dakota, right on the Missouri River.
So this is a little bit different from how you grew up.
Oh, quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. A lot of good guys there. We stayed at our officers' quarters were in the old General Pick Hotel. And it was Army Corps of Engineers base at one time when they built the Fort Randall Dam right on the Missouri River. So it was not bad duty. I mean, it was isolated,
right?
But it was not bad duty.
And not a lot to do in South Dakota, is there?
No. The best part of that, I think, was 8-week training at Panama City, Florida, at Tyndall Air Force Base.
Yeah, I can imagine that'd be a whole lot different.
Yeah, it was nice. On the beach, nice. Left my girlfriend at home, That wasn't the good part of it.
Well, no.
Wandered the streets of Panama City looking for looking in the windows of the jewelry stores, What kind of wedding engagement ring and wedding ring do I want to buy,
So you were your gal back home was pretty serious then.
We were. We didn't really realize it until the separation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What's that old saying? Distance makes the heart grow fonder. Yeah. So it's true.
For us, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you were there for 8 weeks. Did you end up getting a ring while you were there?
I did. I bought the ring and brought it home and proposed. And she said yes. And her family said yes. So.
Oh, that's perfect.
We were married in February of 1968. And 12 days later, I shipped out to Vietnam.
Oh, my gosh. That must have been hard for both of you.
It was. It was hard for both of us.
Yeah. That's a tough goodbye.
Well, a lot of marriages don't last with that kind of early separation.
That's true.
People don't realize marriage, there's a commitment, and it's a lifetime commitment.
Right.
It's too easy now to just throw away relationships.
I think people forget that marriage is work,
Oh yeah,
you
every
know?
day.
Like there's that beginning part of the marriage where you're in love and you're kind of in that honeymoon, but then there's the part of the marriage where it's actual work. It's good work,
Oh yes,
but you can't just give up when it gets tough.
you got to keep at it.
Right.
A lot of tenacity. I know our high school football coach, Bob Boschoven, was a U of M grad.
Mhm.
And the one word that he used over and over again when you're out there practicing was tenacity. You got to have tenacity.
That's a great word.
Stick to it.
Is that a really good impression of him?
Uh, he was a nice man, yeah,
Yeah.
and a good coach.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. So you get married and then you're off to Vietnam. So you've been married for how long then?
Now, you mean?
Yeah.
56 years.
Yeah. Wow.
19, uh, whenever that was,
19,
67.
1967, 68. Yeah. Wow, that's you know what? It shouldn't be surprising that someone's been married that long, but it is.
I know, it's amazing.
It is.
My 50th high school reunion, we sat at a table. It was a round table, and I think there were four couples. My one buddy from middle school, junior high school, all the way through university was at the table with his wife. And uh, two other couples, Rick Stelgis and Bob Franchino, all of us still married to the same women, which was pretty amazing because you could look around and see a lot of failed marriages or marriages that people just gave up on
Mm-hmm.
uh, and threw away those relationships.
Yeah.
But our table was different.
Well, and if you think about it, the '70s was when divorce kind of became, the thing to do. And so, yeah, I mean, you were part of that group that either stuck with it or didn't, but a lot of them didn't.
A lot of them didn't.
Yeah, well, that's great. Our mutual friend, they're celebrating 75 years.
I know it's just absolutely amazing.
That's yeah, yeah. His birthday's coming up, and then their anniversary's coming up. So anyway, I digress. So you ship off to Vietnam, and where do you go?
Well, that was interesting. I flew out of. I'll tell you the story about that.
Okay.
I married into a really good, close knit family. I couldn't have asked for a better set of in laws. Um, and I had the airplane ticket out of Lansing to Sacramento. I don't even recall where the stop was in between.
Hmm.
But my father-in-law had a sister that lived in Sacramento. That's my wife's Aunt Ada. And he called her and he said, well, my son in law is coming out there. He's going to land at San Francisco International Airport. And can you meet him there? And of course, she said yes. So uh, she and her son, uh, not David, David's brother, I'll think of his name before on the way home,
All
probably.
right, yeah, you can call me.
Well, they met me at the airport. It was late in the evening. And I got a whirlwind tour of San Francisco uh, with Aunt Ada and her youngest son. Um, she had told her brother, my father-in-law, of course I'll meet him. He's family.
Wow.
So we did that, and then she worked for the California Highway Patrol, and she lived in Sacramento. So we finished that whirlwind tour, and then she drove back to Sacramento, and uh, the next day took me to Travis Air Force Base, and I flew out then. Um, got to Vietnam at Saigon Tan Son Nhut
Hmm.
Airport, Air Force Base, and had my orders, of course. And people had no idea where I was going. They had no clue. Uh, somebody said, "Well, I think it's Da Nang. So how do I get there?" "Well, you go over here to the ops building and catch an airplane that's going to Da Nang." So I did, and it stopped in Pleiku, and I went into the ops building there. I said, "You have any idea where this outfit is?" And they looked the orders out and says, "Yeah, it's up on the hill right there." So there I was en route to Da Nang and stopped for probably a courier flight
Yeah.
and uh, got a Jeep ride up to the hill where the Air Force station was, the radar station was, and that was my home for a year.
Okay. And so did you like oversee radar operations? Is that how that worked?
I
What did you
was
do?
they called it a weapons controller,
Uh-huh.
and I learned to do uh, with the radar air to air intercepts, uh, mainly learning for defense purposes.
Hmm.
But it turned into a subsegment of hooking fighters up to aerial refuelers.
Oh, okay.
So back in the day, radar back then on the airplanes weren't nearly as sophisticated as it is today.
Hmm.
That's more example of progress, I guess.
Yeah.
But we had manual radar, not the sophisticated computerized SAGE, they called that, semi-automatic ground environment. Ours was just manual radar. You had a big old clunky radar scope, and you had ground to air radios,
Hmm.
and you learned how to calculate uh, intercepts based on altitude and speed and uh, all those other factors. We use circular slide rules to make our calculations and a grease pencil on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a lot that goes into that calculation. I did fire control in the Navy, and
Okay,
so
sure.
yeah, that fire control solution. There's a lot of math involved in
Oh,
that.
without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my buddies over the course of the years was he was a math teacher and turned into be a high school counselor
Hmm.
in Cincinnati. And I met him in Florida. And Larry was in the Army and he did, I guess you'll call it fire control for artillery,
Yeah.
calculating uh, what needed to be calculated,
Right.
depending on the ordnance they were releasing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not. I don't think it's boring work either. I think it's kind of.
Oh, no, for him, it was very challenging.
Yeah.
For us, it was very challenging.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were going to experience. Fortunately, not a lot of emergency aircraft, but uh, they usually come. We were Central Highlands at
Hmm.
Pleiku, and although we had fighters at the base, they were close air support uh, groups. We had T-37s, A-37s, I call them, that the Vietnamese Air Force flew. But we also had the A-1 Sky Raiders, which
Hmm.
were the old fold wing, uh, uh, big propeller uh, aircraft. Used to fly off carriers uh, that were based there. SPADs with their call name, and
Hmm.
we had our own Puff the Magic Dragon at Pleiku that flew combat air patrol over the bases at night. Uh,
That's quite an airship there.
oh, it's amazing! And of course, they progress turned an AC-130 into a gunship with howitzer. I don't remember if it's a 105 or what, but can you imagine that?
I can't imagine being on that when they fired those
Well, I
weapons.
understand it moves.
Yeah.
When you fire that cannon, the aircraft actually moves sideways. And it's a big aircraft too. I flew on many of those.
Hmm. Well, yeah. You think about like the big battleship like the Iowa. If they do a full broadside firing with those 60-inch guns, that ship moves in the water
Oh,
sideways.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine. The whole airplane thing just kind of
Oh, yeah. An
shocks me.
opportunity. You had to qualify periodically, so I had an opportunity to fly in a Learjet up the coast to Da Nang,
Hmm.
and we circled. It was miserable. It was monsoon season. The weather was miserable, uh, and we circled that airstrip at Da Nang. I don't know how many times before finally they were able to break through the clouds and land, and then up in a jeep up the top of Monkey Mountain to the Air Force to the radar site. There we had to be careful when we did our intercept training because it was close to I want to say Hainan Island. I'm not sure which it was, out in the South China Sea.
Mhm.
We had to make sure we avoided Chinese airspace.
Yeah, they get a little upset, wouldn't
I
they?
would think so.
Yeah, yeah. So, how was your tour? It sounds like your tour of duty was, you had a lot going on, but anything you want to share about your time in Vietnam other than what we've talked about?
I learned how to play bridge,
Oh,
and I haven't played since. Um, our first quarters was at the old MacV compound, and it was rough. It was French hooches. If you were lucky, you had screen on the top, and my first experience with a mosquito netting, that you had a framework to use over your cot to keep the critters out.
hmm
We set not a mouse trap, it's called a rat trap. We set rat traps out, and once in a while you hear that thing go off. You say, "Well, we got another one." Uh, it was a little crude, and then the last 5.5 months probably they had built quarters for us right on the airbase itself. And prior to that, we had to ride in a crew cab to work.
hmm
Uh, I don't remember how far it was from the MacV compound to the airbase. And the quarters were significantly better. Uh, we had um, an army fort south of us, uh, quite a ways. Fort, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it was always a cloud of dust. You could look off and say, "Yep, that's where the grunts are," you know, down there.
always moving around, kicking up
Oh
dust.
man, I tell you. But the duty was good duty. We had it was 24-hour duty.
hmm
We did what the FAA does today, basically flight following, hooking up the fighter bombers to forward air controllers. Uh, it wasn't. We actually had a mess hall, and
Oh, okay.
we had an officers club as well. My wife always gets a charge out of some of the photos I took of the Filipino ladies that were singing and dancing. Once in a while we get a USO show.
Yeah.
No big names, but it was fun for us to do that.
No,
Uh,
no Bob Hope for you guys.
no Bob Hope, no Ann Margaret.
Oh, that would have been worth going.
Yeah, but it was okay. Good duty.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, you forget the bad things, I think,
Yeah.
and remember the good things. Had a good crew that we worked with. I can recall my very when I left when I got to play coup, got off the airplane, figured out my duty assignment was up on the hill, and I got to ride up there. The operations officer was having a meeting with the crew, and he was chewing butt.
hmm
He was hot, and that was my introduction to him. He was an interesting guy, a good guy. I can't think of his name right now, but he was a captain. However, he had been selected to be promoted to major, and he never let you forget that.
Captain Promotable.
Oh man, and that really rubbed us the wrong way. Here I am, a gold bar second lieutenant coming up there to go to work and listen to this guy. But it's okay. Everybody moves on, and he moved on.
Right. Right. That's true.
Yeah,
Hopefully, he actually got to put the major pin on.
yeah. Our duty was good. We helped build a Quonset hut for training. Uh, it was a joint project, not just the Quonset hut, but that our whole function
hmm
was joint with the Vietnamese Air Force, and they weren't of much good. It's just the way it was.
Right.
Uh, we tried not to let them get in our way. Uh, we had one of our guys, George Reamer. His brother, he did the same work that I did. His brother was a F-4 pilot, and he flew reconnaissance. And they would correspond, and once in a while, his brother would fly through our airspace.
Oh,
And we kind of, if he knew, we get George on the screen and on the radio, so at least he could control him when he went through, which was fun.
That's kind of nice.
Our shifts were interesting. We worked 11-hour day shifts and a 13-hour night shift. And on Monday, you did a quick turnaround.
Oh, so you're like,
Yeah, the day shift folks went home at 6, and then they came back at midnight.
mm-hmm.
And they worked midnight. They had a short stint, midnight to 7. Then the day shift was 7 to 6. So you're always working.
Yeah,
always working.
You're either going to work or you're just going to sleep, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So you were there for a year, and then your tour is up. Is that what happened? You come back?
No, we wanted it to be up.
Yeah.
No, one of my buddies there was Howie Spellman, and Howie was from New Jersey, and he did not talk a lot. My wife says I don't talk much, but she'd really be amazed at Howie.
Mm-hmm.
He'd sit at the radar scope, and a flight of F-100s would come up out of Tui Wire Fan Ring, and they'd click in on the radio, and they'd say, "Peacock, Peacock, litter 21 flight." And Howie's sitting there looking at the screen. "Peacock, litter 21 flight. Do you have contact?" So, "Howie, you got to talk. We got to talk to him."
Can't see you shaking your
Anyway, the story is Howie and I got orders about the same time. And Howie's orders, well, we got major command orders, not outfit, major command. So Howie got his orders. It was Air Defense Command. And mine was U.S. Air Force Europe, USAFE.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd had enough of being overseas. I didn't want to go to Europe. I wanted to go home.
Right.
I had a wife.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen her in a year. Well, we did meet up for our anniversary in Honolulu, and that was nice. But I said, "Howie, you're going to go to Point Barrow, Alaska, or maybe you're going to go to North Dakota, maybe Minot." And he didn't like the sound of that. I said, "You want to trade orders?" So we got a hold of the personnel officer and talked him into trading orders for us. So Howie went to Tempelhof in Berlin, and I went to Homestead in Florida.
That's not a bad swap.
That was good duty. That
Yeah.
was real good duty.
Yeah. And so how long were you at Homestead then?
We were at Homestead a little over 2 years. Our
Okay.
daughter was born there on the air base,
All right.
and we had fun. We had good duty. We'd get a weekend pass, and we'd go down to the Keys or entertain family if they had a chance to visit. It couldn't have been better. Hot. It's hot.
Yeah.
We lived on the base housing in a duplex, and we were right across the street from the fourth tee on the golf course.
Oh, well, that's not bad.
Not bad at all. That was good duty. We
Yeah.
enjoyed it. We really did. But we were ready to go home too.
Yeah. It must have been nice, though, to have her be with you for that part of your time.
Oh
in the
yeah, it was
service.
great. She went with me to South Dakota
Mhm.
for 4 months and 12 days.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we lived there on the site for the they had the general. It was the old Army base
Mm-hmm.
For the Corps of Engineers.
Right.
We're building the dam, and we had a 1-bedroom house. Kind of like row houses.
Yeah.
You'd see in the coal mining days. That's kind of what it was like. It was nice. It was decent.
Yeah.
she learned how to fish, and we she learned how to cook. Her mom is a good cook, and I recall she made biscuits one time. First time she ever made biscuits, she couldn't eat them, so we took them down the river and floated and threw them across like skipping stones.
Well, that's a great memory. Wow. Did she finally figure it out though?
Oh yeah, she's a good cook.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. So you served a total of how many years then?
A little over 4.5 years
Okay.
from March of '67 to August of '71.
Okay. And then you moved back to Michigan?
I moved back to Michigan, back to home, back
Mhm.
to Lansing. I had been on leave from General Motors, so uh, I got reinstated, went back to work.
Okay. And you had your daughter at this time.
Daughter, yep,
Okay. Only one child then?
we did. We lost another child shortly after birth, uh, but yeah, we had the one daughter.
Okay. All right. And so you kind of just get home and pick up your life at GM.
We did.
Yeah. And how was that? So you said you were there for 34 years?
34.5 years.
Okay. I don't want to miss that extra 6 months.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah.
It helps towards pension.
Yes, it does. Pensions are a good thing. So yeah, so tell me like what was work like for you and you were at Fisher.
As a fisher.
Uh-huh. And were you at Fisher for most of that time then?
Most of my work time was at Fisher with a little hiatus to Oldsmobile for about maybe 5 years.
Mhm.
I did a variety of things from the employment office to clerical work to human labor relations work, working with the UAW. Uh, I moved on to salaried personnel, where I got involved in uh, the benefit plan administration and record keeping for the salaried workers. One time we had over 600 salaried workers.
Yeah.
And that's dwindled considerably. Uh, I did student programs, so I did a lot of recruitment of high school kids to come and work for General Motors as engineering students. I worked with them at GMI, which is now Kettering University,
Mm-hmm.
and you get those uh, engineering students. I think it was a co-op program, and they would go to school for so many months and then work for so many months, and get them acclimated to uh, automobile manufacturing
Mm-hmm.
and see if that was something I wanted to do. Did a lot of work with recruiting high school kids to uh, who are already in school, already in university, to come and work for us in the summer as an intern,
Mm-hmm.
and got them exposed to manufacturing. Met a lot of good kids, and I found that there's a real hotbed of engineering talent in northwestern Clinton County, in that Pewamo, Westphalia, Fowler area.
Well, that's
Uh,
interesting because it's very rural, very farm country.
oh, they knew how to work.
Yeah,
I said, "What'd you
absolutely.
do this past summer?" He said, "Oh, I picked rocks at the Simmons farm." I said, "Well, if you pick rocks, you know what work is like."
Yeah, let us teach you something.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wanted these young people, men and women both, who wanted to contribute to manufacturing. I called them. They wanted to learn about dirty knees engineering, where you actually get down on your hands and knees and solve problems
Mm-hmm.
and make things work. Met a lot of good kids.
Yeah. Probably had a great influence on them too. I mean, to have a good mentor teacher to bring you into that group.
I had a one student. My wife used to work at Mervin's, and she would close on the night that we had uh, the Sharp Park fireworks for Independence Day
Yeah.
fireworks. And she'd get out at 10 o'clock, and I'd meet her there. And here's this young man and this girl coming up, Mr. Sweeney, Mr. Sweeney, I'd like you to meet my girlfriend, Julie. Well, this was Doug Hoon from Pewamo,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and he was just a student, just a college student, you know. Well, Doug married Julie, and uh, when he graduated, he got hired, and I still have his letter. He wrote me a letter after he had been there for 25 years, thanking me for being a mentor and for getting him involved and providing him the opportunity to. Uh, and he married Julie, by the way,
That's great.
and for an opportunity to have a good life and provide for his family. So those are nice memories.
Yeah, you can't ask for more than that.
No,
That's kind of like a it's a wonderful life moment where you get to figure out that you really helped somebody
yeah, that's true.
and they told you. That's fantastic. And so I want to ask something though, and this is kind of off topic, but I remember when my dad worked at Oldsmobile, every year they would have a like an auto show for the employees where the employees and their families would go and you could see the cars that were coming out the following year. Did do you remember that at
I
all?
do not remember that at all.
Okay. All right.
Well, you got to consider that things change just about every model year.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm amazed at what went into the die work and the fender shapes changes, and that's a lot of work.
Oh yeah. I remember every July my dad would get 2 weeks for changeover
Sure.
and we'd go to oh gosh, Cedar Point
Oh,
because he had 2 weeks off, so we'd go to Cedar Point. That was our big deal. But yeah, so 34 years. So you retired in the early.
I retired in March of 2000.
Okay, all right. And then so March is so in March you I'm trying. March seems to be a month for you. There's a couple things that happen in March for you. You left for the military in
I
March.
did, yeah.
Yeah. So you retired in March, and what did you do after that?
I retired pretty much.
Yeah. Did you do some traveling or?
We traveled. We purchased a winter home in Florida.
Uh-huh.
And if somebody would have told me early on that you're going to spend your winters in Florida, I said, no, thank you. I've been to Florida. It's hot. I don't know if I want to go down there. But the winters were fine. We had a nice place, comfortable place. Trying to sell it now.
Uh-huh.
Uh, uh, we had some unfortunate experience with the two hurricanes this past season.
Mm.
Hurricane Helene and Milton did damage in our park, horrible damage in our park. Uh, some damage to our unit, but it's a buyer's market there now.
Right.
So it's tough. There's over 40 places for sale in our park alone, and it's difficult to sell. And with Nancy being on dialysis, it's tough to travel.
Yeah.
You know, we can do it. We did it. Uh, the center works very well for her in getting her assigned to a dialysis center close to where we were or are in
Mhm.
Florida. Uh, this past season, we went down just for the month of January, and the closest center they could get her into was about 40 minutes away, uh, 3 times a week. You know,
It's a lot of traveling while you're in Florida. Yeah.
it is, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit. One thing we didn't talk about was your daughter. Do you mind talking about like what does she do and
Oh no, I've got a great I got a great family.
uh
Our daughter Michelle with one L. I don't know why, but uh, when we named her, that's what we did.
just seemed right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a good student, loves to read, uh, and learned how to play the trumpet in middle school, and became the lead trumpet player at her high school at Grand Ledge.
Uh-huh.
Went on to university at Western Michigan University, and she was in the marching band for 2 years, and that was fun. We'd get season tickets for the football games. So
Yeah.
why? So we could watch the marching band.
That's exciting stuff.
And she, I think, these are my words now. I think she decided that practice with the trumpet and carrying that trumpet around was too much. So she's musical. So
Mhm.
she took up choir, and she was in the choir for the last couple of years at Western. A good student, uh, graduated. Uh, it took her 7 years, which I remind her of often.
Right? You're obligated to let her know.
And she got 2 bachelor's degrees in those 7 years. She also finally settled down and decided she wanted to become a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So her first degree was in university studies, or said in my terms, no preference.
No preference degree.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So she got her teaching degree and teaching certificate. So she left Western with 2 bachelor's degrees. Got a teaching position at right there on the border of I-69 and US 12, whatever that city is. Escapes me. It'll come to me on the way home.
Coldwater?
Yes.
Okay. It took me a minute, but Coldwater. I only know that because I think they have a drive-in movie theater down there. Anyway.
She took to teaching well, taught middle school, loves middle school kids. Got married, and she had an apartment there in Coldwater. And then after she was married, her husband was still a student at Western.
Mm-hmm.
So they moved to an apartment in Marshall.
Okay.
And then when Johnny graduated, they came back to Lansing area. For a while, she drove from Lansing to Coldwater to teach. And then she landed a position at Williamston in the Williamston district.
Mm-hmm.
A nice little close-knit community. It's an interesting community. It has a lot of money, and it has no money at all, family-wise. She loved the kids, and she, during that time, she went to MSU and got a master's degree in education. I call it English. They call it liberal arts.
Yes.
Not liberal arts. Well, that'll come to me too.
Language arts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Language arts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, you have to have a fancy name to justify that tuition.
And she always liked books, always liked reading. She's a voracious reader. So she said, there's a position opening in the high school library. So she, while she was pregnant with her first child, she drove back and forth at night after work to Wayne State, heart of Detroit.
Yeah.
And got a master's degree in library science. So here she is with 4 degrees, teaching for what we consider, or she considers, peanuts.
Right.
Which is what we seem to pay teachers and nurses. And then she views it a little differently than I do. She was also a union rep at the high school. Mm-hmm. And she got a little crosswise with the building administrator, and he eliminated the librarian position.
Oh, wow.
So
what a coincidence.
That's okay. I love kids anyway. So she went into the middle school, and she's been a middle school teacher, English teacher ever since.
Oh.
Married a young man that is a gifted musician. Mm-hmm. And Johnny has a profound hearing loss, and he is a tremendous musician. And his major at university was music with a viola, a little bit bigger violin.
Yeah.
And of course, that today about $2.95 to buy you a cup of coffee.
Right.
Came from a very musical family, a family of educators. His father's a former band director at his high school in St. Clair Shores. His mother's a singer and a teacher, both teachers, both educators. Mm-hmm. Both far out liberals, as many teachers are.
Yeah.
And of course, Johnny, the son-in-law, grew up with that. Uh, but with my daughter pushing him, he uh, went back to school at MSU and he got a master's degree in special ed.
Okay.
And he's been a special ed teacher at the same district in Williamston High School
Mm-hmm.
ever since he graduated. And it's good for him, you know. He kind of taught himself to play the piano. So he has both of those. He's mastered both of those instruments. He can play the Devil Went Down to Georgia on the violin, and he can play some pretty mean keyboard stuff
Yeah.
as well. And uh, in the summertime, uh, you might find him out at the band shell at the McCormick Park in Williamston, as they have a little musical group that plays at least once during the summer.
I have to shoot out there this summer and listen for him.
It's just it's Thursday evenings, and you just bring your own chair, you set in the yard and
Yeah.
in the lawn, and they have a variety of different performers that come out there once a week during the summer. uh, Michelle has two daughters, great kids. The oldest is a extremely intelligent. Well, they're both sharp, intelligent. The oldest one loves books like her mother.
Uh-huh.
The youngest one, she doesn't read. I'd rather not. But the oldest one, Jenna, was a fourth generation Western Michigan University student and grad. And in 4 years, she earned a bachelor's and a master's degree.
That's pretty incredible. You point that out to her mom.
Yeah. We're really proud. We're proud of both of them. But I keep telling them the oldest one, her name is Jenna. I said, school comes, I mean, you work at it, but school comes pretty easy for you. Why don't you go ahead and get a PhD? I know it's a lot of work, a lot of time involved, but you could become a university professor, and I think you'd love it. Also, and she doesn't want to do this, she could become a researcher.
Mm-hmm.
When she, as much as she loves to read, she would be good at it.
Yeah.
But she wants to be a teacher.
Yeah. You can't, I mean, it's my daughter is a teacher, and that was her goal from like middle school. She just always wanted to be a teacher. You're never going to get rich being a teacher, but she loves her job.
Oh, yeah. And now Jenna did an internship at Portage Central High School in English, language arts. And she liked the district, liked the people, liked the students. And they had a position opening up in the middle school when she graduated. But it didn't open up in time. So she said, well, I made a commitment to the state of Michigan to teach for 5 years. And an opportunity presented itself to her to teach at Williamston in the high school as a Spanish teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that was her minor. She didn't like that, but she accepted it. She said yes. Shortly after she said yes, the Portage Central opportunity came, and she had to turn it down because she gave her word to this district
Right.
that she was going to teach there. So I'll belabor my grandkids a little bit because they're super.
Mm-hmm.
She is just going to teach 1 year. She's already turned in her resignation, and she's already got an apartment in Kalamazoo this summer, July, I think. And she's looking for an opportunity to teach English, which she really wants to teach, language arts.
Uh-huh.
And she says, I'll find a job.
I bet she will.
Oh, I think so. Now, she's She'll be 23 in June. The youngest one will be 21 next month.
Hmm.
And the youngest one, Maya, uh, she's a good student in what she likes,
Right.
and she wants to work in the medical profession. And before she graduated from high school, she became certified as a phlebotomist and a medical assistant. So she had both those certifications. She's now working as an MA for the University, Michigan State University Medical Center and Family Practice. She loves it. She likes doing that. And I think, and she's studying. She's now at, I think, Davenport, and she'll get a degree, some kind of medical degree when she finishes. And her boss there seems to think you could become a PA. Why don't you think about being a PA? And I think she wants to work, I think, with pediatrics. Uh, so they're both good kids, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It sounds like it sounds like everything kind of come full circle, and they're kind of all doing. They're all doing great, which is what more could a parent ask for than to see their,
I know, or a grandparent.
yeah, see their children and grandchildren flourish like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, as we kind of come to the end of our conversation, I want to make sure that we talked about everything you wanted to talk about. So is there anything else that we missed that you wanted us to say?
Oh golly, I'm not sure. I love my family. They're good kids, all of them. Uh, I know my son-in-law is on the brink of a cochlear implant,
Mm-hmm.
which will be a major lifestyle change for him. He's anxious, a little bit of anxiety there. Uh, Sometimes borders on a little bit of fear when you think they're going to drill a hole in my skull.
Yeah.
But I think he's come to grips with that, and it'll be a learning process. And I think that he's going to do fine. My my daughter, for 15 years or more, has had a second job teaching for the University of Phoenix
Mm-hmm.
online. So here she is with her full-time teaching position at the middle school in Williamston, and uh, teaching other people, not just kids either, but other people to become teachers. Uh, and she does it all online. But she's traveled to a variety of places in the state just to observe her students in the classroom and to see how they're doing in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
She's been to Detroit, up in the Thumb, out here in the western part of the state. Uh, she drove into one school in inner city Detroit one time and parked her car on the street, walked up the building. When she got in, they immediately locked her in a closet because they had it locked down. And then when she got out, they were making bets. The teachers making bets on whether her car was going to be there when she got finished.
A pretty tough area. Wow. So yeah, she sounds very busy,
She is. She's very busy.
but she likes what she's doing.
She loves what she does, and she's got enough time, I think, with the Williamston district to retire if she chooses to do so.
Yeah.
Which she says maybe another 3 years.
It's got to be on her time, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's good that she can do that.
Yeah. Well, you have lived quite a life. Sounds like a great family, married into a great family, served your country, had a great career, a good retirement.
Yeah. I don't regret any of it, really. I regret the fact that, and I go ahead and say this, that General Motors thought so little of the salaried workforce that they canceled all of the retirees' health insurance and life insurance. So no dental, no vision, no health insurance. Well, you're on Medicare, you know.
Yeah.
You got you got health insurance. So
Yeah. I remember when they restructured, it impacted my father as well, even though he was not salaried, he was hourly. But yeah, he lost a lot of benefits as well. Yeah.
without a doubt,
It was not a good thing.
didn't hurt the executives. Well, it may have hurt their bonuses for a short period of time. But
Right.
they still draw millions of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad doesn't get his profit sharing anymore either.
No.
Yeah. So that all went away. Well, I do want to ask you one final question, if I could. And I ask everyone the same question, and that is, when someone's listening to this in the future, when you and I aren't here anymore, what message would you like to leave people with?
Well, I would encourage people to, if you find someone you love, marry them. And it may be tough, but stick to it because that's a commitment that you make. Don't throw away relationships. Work hard, do the right thing, go to church, uh, learn how to live so that you can help others. Um, and that's pretty much it. You know,
All right.
there's there's a lot there's a lot out there that you can give. You just don't realize it yet.
All right. Well, thanks for giving your time to me today, sitting down here for this hour that we've chatted, and I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Bill. It's my pleasure. Interesting.
Thank you. Thank you for watching Veterans Archives. We hope you enjoyed this veteran story. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button, like and share our videos, as well as checking us out on social media. We're on Facebook and TikTok, LinkedIn, X, and Instagram. Be sure to check out those pages, share, and like. And for more information about what we do, go to www.veteransarchives.org.